What is Scooby? And welcome back to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce. And first and foremost, I hope you guys had wonderful holidays if you celebrate into that kind of thing. If not, hope you had a very enjoyable week while everybody else was being quiet across the world because I'm telling you, that was a different kind of quiet on Christmas Day. Now, Christmas Eve, whole different story. Tell you, I had no clue that it was a thing to light fireworks for Christmas. No clue whatsoever. I found out real quick on Christmas Eve that it is definitely a thing to light fireworks on Christmas, and they kept that thing going for half the night. Um, but yeah, other than that, wonderful holiday. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed yours as well. One of the things that I did over the holiday weekend or the extended holiday weekend was watched Being the Ricardos on uh, Amazon Prime Video, and I really hello there, Davina. Welcome back, Davina. uh, yeah, so I watched it because I knew this was a more than a movie topic waiting to happen. And let me tell you, I was pleasantly surprised by the movie. It wasn't, you know, we always say, glad to have you back. We always say these movies are based on a true story. They are not a beat by beat true story, but they are loosely based. Some of them some of them more loosely than others. But this one, we are going to beat by beat go over which parts of the story might have been embellished for the movie and which parts of it was spot on. And let me tell you, one of the things that I really liked about the movie was the performances by the various actors who played these characters. We'll get into that a little bit. We're going to get into again what might have been real, what might have been fake, and what did we learn? Because I learned some stuff watching this movie. So when with all that being said, no further ado, let's find out just how accurate Being the Ricardos really was. And we're going to start with the actress who played Lucy, who was Nicole Kidman. And we all have our own ideas of Nicole Kidman. When we hear of her, we can think of iconic roles that she's played over the years. But when I tell you that she put her foot in this Lucille Ball role, she really did. And one of the things that we have to remember, because there were complaints that I did see on the internet about the performance. One of the things that we have to remember is that we know Lucy Ricardo. We don't know Lucille Ball. You know what I'm saying? Lucille Ball is the actress, the person behind the character of Lucy Ricardo. So if we walk around thinking that what we saw on I Love Lucy was really Lucille Ball, no, Lucille Ball was playing a character. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with learning that. Well, I'm okay with that being the truth because the bottom line is uh, she knew what her audience wanted. We'll get into that a little bit more, but the resemblance is not spot on, but it is uncanny to see the transformation of Nicole Kidman into Lucille Ball. Um, if you didn't notice, my entire look today, I'm gonna have to let you guys see my entire look besides the eyelashes. Uh, Lucille Ball wore eyelashes famously. I do not. So my entire makeup look and hairstyle, and this is as close to Lucille Ball as this black girl gonna get. But I just said, in celebration of Lucille Ball, we're gonna do the red lip. We're gonna do the matte makeup. We're gonna do the red hair. So yeah, I just thought, oh, and the houndstooth. I had to match her houndstooth as well. So yeah, so this is where that came from. Don't say that I am not a stickler for detail. All right, but yeah, we see the resemblance. I think Nicole Kidman did an admirable job, especially knowing that at least one of her children is is watching this, is trying to see how much of this you've gotten right. And even the daughter, Lucy Arnaz, even she said, this was a good performance by Nicole Kidman. And next, we've got the couple. And I don't have anything with just Desi, because really the icon coming into this, in my mind, the icon was Lucy. My mind changed by the end of the movie. My mind changed. So we have Lucy and Desi, the real Lucy and Desi over here on the left. And then on the right, we have Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem, who played them in the movie. Another thing that was being complained about is that uh, Desi Arnaz was a Cuban American. He was Cuban. Javier Bardem is from Spain. So people had a problem with that. Like, why didn't they find a Cuban? You know what? I feel like this in this situation. Let's see what he does with the character. And there were points in this movie that I felt like Javier Bardem was channeling Desi Arnaz, just from the things that we have seen of Desi Arnaz when he's playing his music, when he was playing the congos and all that. Javier brought that to life very well. I thought he did an excellent job. It's not for me to say whether they got this thing culturally right, because, you know, I don't know who the Cuban actors are that are out there that could have done this role the same type of justice that Javier Bardem did. And then we go to our director. The director and the writer of this was Aaron Sorkin, who is a renowned director. Now I don't want to misspeak, so let me make sure I'm quoting his movies correctly for you guys. He did The Trial of the Chicago 7. He did Molly's Game, Being the Ricardos, The Social Network, A Few Good Men, Steve Jobs, Moneyball. So this list of his accomplishments on behind the camera, you can't beat that. Starting with the first one I said, The Trial of the Chicago 7. He did a remarkable job. Hey, Clarence, yes, he did Jobs as well. So yes, there are he's got a lot under his belt, especially about biographical type movies, biopics. uh this one came out December 21st, so just a couple days ago, on again Amazon Prime Video. Then we will move on to the music, which the music didn't overwhelm. It didn't take the spotlight from what was going on screen. It was a good complementary track of songs. Daniel Pemberton gave us the music. And now I'm going to get into, because we know that if we're going to talk about Lucy and Desi during the I Love Lucy years, we have to talk about their co-stars. Vivian Vance, who played Ethel Mertz, and William Frawley, who played Fred Mertz. So here are our actors. And let me tell you, J.K. Simmons as William Frawley, as Fred Mertz, man, he did a freaking fantastic job at bringing William Frawley back to life. I really, if you didn't know no better, you would have thought you was looking at William Frawley. And Nina Arianda, she did an absolutely outstanding job as Vivian Vance. We're going to get into some of the controversy behind them, but the big thing that I learned, a big pickup from this movie, was that Vivian Vance and William Frawley could not stand one another. Literally, I won't say hated, but oh my gosh, they did not like one another. And of course, on screen as Fred and Ethel, and they're kind of a battling couple, couple whose relationship is kind of built upon uh, their relationship is kind of built upon the animosity that they had towards one another. That was real. That was real. They really didn't like each other. I would have never known it. Would have never known it. Moving into our synopsis, in 1952, Hollywood power couple Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz face personal and professional obstacles that threaten their careers, their relationship, and their hit television show. Clarence, yeah, we're gonna get there, but I definitely am in complete agreement. Um, Even as a young girl, now I'm about to go off track for us just a second. Even as a young girl watching the reruns of I Love Lucy, I felt like she's too pretty to play the character. She's not as bad as they make her out to be in this show. I also always thought that William Frawley, his character or his the actor, was too old to be her husband. Now I know that 20 some years to some people is nothing. A lot of men of my age will date a 20 something, and it's nothing. But a lot of times it actually looks even. Like you've got a guy who's uh in his 40s who kind of looks and carries himself younger, and he dates a younger woman. But that's me going off into a whole different tangent. Not saying that I agree with it, just saying that it's not out of the ordinary. But on I Love Lucy, it was a big stark difference between William Frawley and Vivian Vance. Let's just be real. Um, so we're gonna go into some of the things that the movie established. We know that Lucy and Desi were married. They met in when they were filming a movie, and I forgot to write down what movie it was. They were filming a movie. They met. It was kind of lust at first sight. They had their little. They had sexy time. They did their thing, and the next thing we see is Lucy getting out of the bed with Desi. And Lucy was in control of this whole situation. She was in control. That's the way the movie portrayed it. Anyway, she gets out of the bed with Desi, picks up the phone, like, I need to call my fiance. Called her fiance and was like, baby, I ain't never coming home. So that is the way it was portrayed in the movie. But how did that really go down? Well, I'm going to tell you. Both of them had fiancés. Both of them left their prospective spouses, people that they were going to marry. Both of them left them, and then they were joined at the hip ever since. A lot of people will say, excuse me. Oh, a lot of people will say that their relationship was built primarily on the sexual relationship. But once you start to see what they were able to do together behind the scenes in television, it had to have been far more than sexual, because they have chemistry. They have chemistry. Well, let's just start from the top, seeing what the movie established and what might have been the truth. And I tried really hard. I tried really hard to make this thing where the X's and checks didn't show up. Something I did different or wrong. So you guys, excuse me, you're gonna know the answers as soon as I click the button, because the answers are right there. But before I do that, let me re-pull up, because I lost my notes. I lost my notes. Pull that over here. Something going on with my computer today. Or it just might be me. Something's going on with me today. uh, okay. I think I'm ready now. So, the movie established that the events portrayed in it occurred over the course of 1 week. Well, that is one of the things that is not true. They told several stories, and they placed it in 1 week, the same week that they were filming an episode called Fred and Ethel Fights. Well, these events did not occur over the course of the week of that 1 week. They actually occurred over the space of the first 3 seasons of I Love Lucy. But it made sense to put them all in this 1 week so that you could tell more than just this story of the Fred and Ethel Fights episode. In fact, the Fred and Ethel Fights episode occurred in, I believe it was season 1. The real place where this stuff happened was going into season 3. So we know that because of some of the events of the movie. As we move forward, we will find out that there were other things that happened. None of them happened in the same week. Uh, Tabloids reported alleged infidelity by Desi Arnaz. That is true. Desi Arnaz was, hey, Lysandra. Desi Arnaz was a philanderer. He did cheat on his wife, mostly with call girls, hookers, uh, sex workers is the way that we have come to say it, and it's an acceptable term now. But yes, he was a cheater, and uh, Lucy knew about most of his affairs or several of his affairs, but this was another hurdle in their relationship. Now, another angle of this movie was that Lucy was accused of being a member of the Communist Party, something I never knew. And that was true. She was actually accused of being a member of the Communist Party. Now, the way that Lucy explained it away is that her grandfather was a member of the Communist Party, and to feel connected to him, to make him, I guess, proud of her when she was able to choose a party, which party did she want representing her interests. She checked the box next to Communist Party because it would make her grandfather happy. That came back, of course, to bite her in the ass because in the 1950s, when this show was being recorded, uh, the last thing you wanted to be in the whole wide world was a communist. You just didn't want to be one. Um, Now, this was something else that came as a huge shock and surprise to me. Uh, Desi is a business genius and innovative presence in TV history. Desi Arnaz uh, was somewhat of a prodigy when it came to his business acumen. I did not know that the man, I thought all of the success could have been attributed to Lucy. I had no idea that Desi was pulling a lot of the strings for that show that we saw. The show that we saw was like at least 50 to 60% Desi, whereas a lot of me, I was giving a lot of the credit to Lucy over the years. I thought that she came up with that all on her own, but he not only struck the right deals and made the right connections as far as being kind of a producer of a show, but he also was instrumental in changing the way that these shows are directed and filmed. I did not know. I'm glad that I watched it because, credit where credit is due. The man did his thing. He changed the way TV was filmed in front of a live studio audience and the product that went out to the widespread audience across the world. One of the things that really cracked me up is that, like, now we talk about TV and movies quite a bit, us together. But back in the day, like right now, if you can get 10 million people to watch your show on the same night, if you can get 15 million to watch your show, we feel like you are doing your thing. This show has got to be great. 15 million people tuned in. Lucy, the I Love Lucy show was commanding an audience of 60 million viewers. 60 million viewers every week are tuning in for that half hour of television. That is how you know you have a stranglehold on pop culture and the entire, I won't say the entire, but there was a household in at least damn near every neighborhood that was playing I Love Lucy. And remember also, every household didn't have a TV. So if you got 60 million people watching in their homes, you've got some of their neighbors coming over and they making a thing out of watching I Love Lucy. That is when you know that you are the only show in town. The only show in town. They had a stranglehold on what people did with their free time, and people were willing to pay for it. They had a huge deal with Philip Morris because that's when smoking was like all the rage. Now people who smoke, like myself, are all we talk about is when are we going to be able to quit. But back then, not only was smoking, I guess, kind of in vogue, one of the things to do, it was also big business. I mean, it's still big business, but they had commercials on television, and the big sponsors of your big TV shows were the cigarette companies. William Frawley was an alcoholic, albeit a functional one. He was an alcoholic. Desi Arnaz insisted upon William Frawley being cast as Fred Mertz. He insisted upon it. He knew that he was an alcoholic, but he staked his name. I promise you, if he will come to work, he will be able to deliver his lines. He will remember his lines. He will be a professional on set. Now, what he do when he get off, we already know what he's going to do. What he's going to do is go get drunk. But during business hours and while he's here, he's not going to be an obstacle that we have to get over to record our episodes. And for the most part, William Frawley held up his end of the bargain. He did not report to work drunk. He was able to learn his lines, deliver his lines. He did an outstanding job. Many people would not have known that he had that problem. So yeah, that was something that was kind of new to me as well. Now, Vivian Vance was growing increasingly frustrated with playing the less pretty friend. That too is true. And that is what Clarence was that's what Clarence was talking about when he said that it kind of made him feel really sad for Vivian Vance. Because first of all, like I said earlier, Vivian Vance was a pretty woman to me. There was, this wasn't something where she's playing the ugly friend and she really does look a hot sauce mess. No, this lady is beautiful. But again, she's playing second fiddle to Lucy. And one of the things that it wasn't implicitly stated, but Lucy obviously has a bit of an ego. And the ego is, when I'm on screen, I need to be the center of attention. I need to be the prettiest person on screen. Now, again, Vivian Vance was pretty, but they made her dress a little dumpy. In fact, for the fight episode that they were portraying on this episode, or in this movie, Ethel wanted to wear a red dress, and the dress was kind of sexy for the times. And Lucy said, "Oh no, that's not going to work." Ethel was losing weight, and Lucy's like, "Oh no, we need to feed her. That's not going to work. She can't lose weight. She can't be smaller than me. She can't be prettier than me." There was a situation where Vivian Vance said that eye she wore eyelashes on the set, and Lucy snatched them off her face. So, I mean, these are things that Vivian had to face. So she had to face that coming from Lucy. Then you have to be paired up with William Frawley, who cannot stand you. You can't stand each other, but you, for years, have to work as his wife on this sitcom, and he can't stand you. Y'all can't stand each other. That to me was another thing that I'm like, I gotta feel I feel sorry for her too. Because when you talk about a toxic work environment, that's what one was. Lucy and Vivian, of course, were friends, and they remained friends even after I Love Lucy. There was another show, I think it was just called Lucy. If I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong. The other show, and I think it was just called Lucy. Vivian Vance was a part of that as well. So of course, you do still want to keep yourself aligned with Lucille Ball in this day and age, this time that we were in, because man, she wasn't missing. Lucille Ball wasn't missing. So Vivian Vance had a hard time on the set of uh of I Love Lucy. We'll put it like that. And that's probably putting it lightly. The movie also establishes that Lucy and Desi had to fight to have the birth of Lil Ricky become a storyline for the show. That's true as well. And again, I think it was CBS. They're like, no, we can't have people seeing a pregnant woman on screen. They wanted to just do all the tropes that you use to hide a pregnancy. That's what the execs wanted to do. We'll have her stand behind chairs and we'll put a pillow on her lap. Anything to hide a pregnancy. Uh, Lucy and Desi basically said, "No, we want the baby to be a part of the story." And the execs were not sure that people were ready for that. That people were ready to even think about, how did Lucy get pregnant? Because if you remember back in the day, it was separate beds. They slept on twin beds on different sides of the room. It was many years before those beds came together. So now they were afraid that people wouldn't understand how Lucy got pregnant if they sleep in separate beds. You think who who gets married? Or maybe me. Okay, maybe I would. But who gets married to sleep in twin beds separated? I don't care what year it is. I don't care if it was the dark ages to now. If you are married, most people, we know how that happens. But they were afraid that that would spark questions to see Lucy pregnant on screen. It was a crazy time. They also thought, hey, even if the execs say this, the CBS execs say, yes, you guys can do that, they were almost 100% sure that the Philip Morris execs would be like, no, we definitely don't need to see no pregnant woman on TV. Yes, we know that that's how we came into existence, but no, we don't want to see pregnancy on TV. They had to fight. Another thing that was established on the show is that because Lucy was facing this problem, being accused of being a communist, J. Edgar Hoover called Desi in front of a live audience to clear Lucy of being a communist. Um, while she was cleared of being a communist and she had to testify in front of Congress, um, the FBI had files on her. So we know that J. Edgar Hoover was the most crooked freaking rat of a head of the FBI as there ever has been, probably. But he never called Desi in front of a live studio audience, but he did provide materials to show that Lucy was not a card carrying member of the Communist Party. In fact, um, this the whole thing was brushed off as she accidentally checked the wrong box. When I'm saying what we talked about at the beginning of the show, where she didn't check the wrong box, she checked the box because she wanted to get her grandfather's approval. That's how she got the check next to the box next to the Communist Party. But they dumbed Lucy down just a little bit. They dumbed her down and said, "Oh, she checked the wrong box." Now that bothered her a bit, but saying that she checked the wrong box saved the show and the career, because if she would have been found out to have been intentionally checking that Communist Party box, that would have been the end of I Love Lucy. That would have been it. And last but not least, I think the head of Philip Morris sent a telegram that said, "Don't fuck around with the Cuban," allowing the couple to make Lucy's pregnancy a plot point. That absolutely happened. The head of Philip Morris sent sent this telegram to the CBS execs and the people that he had in the room helping to make these kinds of decisions. He told them, "Do not fuck around with this Cuban," because again, Desi Arnaz was a genius at negotiating, and also at exercising his power, the power that he had in his hand, which is, we are giving you 60 million viewers per week. That's 60 million viewers per week. We know that cigarette smoking and smoking and all of that was a big deal in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, even the 70s. We knew it was a big deal. You want your product in front of as many people as you can possibly get it in front of, and you're not going to get no more than 60 million. 60 million is probably is probably the biggest audience that you could ask for as far as being uh tobacco in the tobacco industry. um so the way I look at it is that Philip Morris knew, gosh, where does this keep showing back up here? Morris knew who they had to go through to they knew who they had to go through to make sure that they don't alienate the goose that laid the golden egg. So now we've got all of these different plot points that we talked about, and gosh, I'm trying to block this person who is keeps putting this crap up here. Excuse me, very. It's a lot of spamming going on today. Gosh, a lot of spamming. And then this one won't go away at all. Okay, I don't know. I think you guys could probably see some of this stuff that's coming up. Maybe not all of it. But anywho, yeah. So all of those plot points, all of those points from the movie, they all, most of them were right, really happened this way, and some of them had were liberties that were taken. Specifically, that all of this stuff happened in the same week. Uh, Desi Arnaz was always being accused of being a philanderer. You want to know why? Because he was a philanderer. He was out there, to him, it was purely physical. He really loved Lucy, but that's not something that you can just walk into uh, a very famous woman already, or at least talented. She had the talent to make it in some form of show business. It started off as she wanted to be in the big movies like your Joan Collins and the sort, and they kind of said she aged out. Which when she was doing the Lucy, I Love Lucy show, I believe she was 39, 40 years old. 40 years old in the 50s, you have aged out of being a leading lady. That was something that was like, wow, wow. And a lot of these women are not getting their best roles now until they reach their 40s. So just imagine what it was like being a woman in that era, but also being a talented woman. Lucy held a lot of the cards. She held a lot of the cards, uh, even with her husband. Now, that didn't stop him from going out and cheating. Didn't stop it. You could be one of the things that my daddy used to say, show me the most beautiful woman in the world, and I'll show you a man who's tired of in her. you know, and I have found that to be not all the time true. Yeah, Clarence, it's to say that's not all the time true. The thing about what my dad used to say, but it did make me think like Lucy. Not only was she a beautiful woman, she was immensely talented, and she took no shit from no one. So that little goofy lady that y'all saw on I Love Lucy, that was not Lucille Ball. That was Lucy Ricardo. Lucille Ball will grab you by your balls. She was not afraid, and she would say and do things just to make some men who felt like they had power. She would say and do things to make them feel uncomfortable. Uh, yes, Clarence was talking about the radio show. They She had to do a radio show. Well, she didn't have to, but she wanted to continue in show business. So instead of being TV and movies in the beginning, she was doing radio. But when she did radio, one thing we know about Lucy is that she's very animated. So when she's acting, she's giving you all of her face. She's showing you her whole mouth. You know how she had a very big mouth, or either she overlined her lips, kind of like the way I did today. She overlined her lips to make her mouth look bigger, and she just did so much with her face. So I think that yeah, it was good that they showed her on the radio show, because she was still doing the exact same expressions. She moved. She put her entire body in a show that would never have been seen by anybody. They were only listening. That's how she acted. She's very into physical comedy. And the way they showed her brainstorming on on the set of I Love Lucy, she not only was she very good, in fact, crazy excellent at physical comedy, she also could direct physical comedy. She would brainstorm on what she could do different, what the crew, the cast, needed to do differently to elicit a laugh. Um, she would memorize her lines really quick. So these are things that they were showing in in the movie. And yeah, she also was a genius. She was. I I always knew that she had it. The surprise to me was Desi Arnaz and how much he brought to the table as far as having that keen business sense. I didn't know that he was as gifted uh, as he was. I didn't know that he was as educated. Let's be real. Reinhardt brought it up the other night how the world was not ready to see an interracial relationship on television. But we're talking like Desi Arnaz was like from the streets or something. Desi Arnaz was the son of a mayor, and when the communists came into Cuban, and I mean to Cuba, gosh, Cuban, when the communists came into Cuba, it basically ran his family out. They pretty much sought exile in the United States, but uh, Desi Arnaz was already a bright man. He was from a family of means. He wasn't a poor broke dude and all he could do was play the congos. No, he was already a gifted guy. That's just not the way that I guess formulated that whole thing in my mind. I underestimated Desi Arnaz, and I would never underestimate Lucy. So I don't know if that was a I don't know if that's something I need to think about. Why? Why was I so ready to say that he was basically living off of her? No, that talent it took both of their minds to make I Love Lucy work. It took both of their minds. Now um I guess he did other stuff. The other stuff, the personal stuff, that's the thing that made their relationship end. But given them working together and what they learned from one another and what they brought us, like for instance, the Twilight Zone, that came to us from Desi Lou. That was when Desi and Lucy were together. The Untouchables was another thing. The Star Trek franchise came from Desi Lou, but that was when Lucy was operating it by herself. But again, a lot of the things that were introduced by Desi remained as part of basically the fabric of what television and movies are now. That's how instrumental he was. The innovations, and one of them was the way that they filmed in front of a live studio audience. That was one of the things. Another of the things that Clarence and Reinhardt was bringing to my attention is the quality of film that they used to record these episodes. That now, okay, when I was a little girl and Star Trek came on, even though, to me as a little girl before I got into Star Trek, it was like, this is boring. But it was filmed in the 60s. It was a sci-fi show, and things still didn't look as cheesy as it could have done if we didn't have these innovations. So we got to say thank you to a lot of stuff for Desi and Lucy. But yeah, this presented it as, hey, this all of this happened in 1 week. No, this happened over the course of the series as it moved on. Um, Again, we did see Little Ricky, a character called Little Ricky, in the in I Love Lucy, around the same time that she and her husband had Desi Arnaz Jr. I didn't know. Another thing I didn't know was that Lucy was 6 years older than Desi Arnaz. So while she was 40 years old in I Love Lucy, he was 30 something. She had a young one. And I don't find nothing wrong with that. So yeah. So that was another thing. The fact that she was older than him and the fact that he was Cuban kind of was strikes against them as far as being on television, because the world sometimes don't even seem like it's ready for an interracial relationship right now. Like it's some of our faves that if we uh if we found out that they married somebody outside of us, we might just start to feel some kind of way. And I mean, that is in 2021 when we are all trying to push and strive for, look, let's just stop with the prejudices and discriminations and the racism. Back then it was even worse. And here she was with a whole Cuban husband on TV. So again, the whole situation, they made it work. They made it work. It was wonderful. Um, I don't usually give ratings for shows like this. This is a biopic, and I've already told you I love the movie, and I've already told you the things that were kind of mashed up to make it fit this week in production of the I Love Lucy show. Um, but this movie is good. I most certainly recommend it. Um, if especially if you are curious about how how could this thing have worked in the 50s? How did they make this work? And you will see a decent portrayal of two, I guess, genius minds when it comes to what they were doing. And they put the right places, people in the right places. Meaning they had Vivian Vance and William Frawley, as much as they couldn't stand one another, um, they worked well together on that show. I liked it. What did you think of it, Clarence? Clarence, I'm still trying to block these stupid. Or did anybody else see it? And if you did, what did you think of the movie? But I did. I loved it. I thought, of course, Aaron Sorkin. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to what it as because it's a comment that I missed back up here where Clarence said he's great at these slice of life type movies, and yes, gave me a slice of their life, uh, did it well, and I really wish these little comments would go away. Lord have mercy. Yeah, they did it. They did it well. Um, what's her? Clarence said he loved it as well. It was what's her name? Nicole Kidman. People were people were talking about her in the role of Lucille Ball, and didn't like her for the role at all. And she almost backed out of this role. Now, a lot of people were behind Kate Blanchett playing Lucy, and I'm like, look, what difference do it make if they're both going to do a great job? I'm gonna take um whoever they put in front of that camera. I think Kate Blanchett was chosen first, and something happened, scheduling something, and Nicole Kidman took over the role. I don't have a problem with that. I don't know why people were giving that lady such a hard time, but she almost backed out because of the backlash that she received on the internet. And I wondered to myself, would you have an internet presence? Would you have a social media presence if I was famous, if I were in Hollywood? And more and more I think I wouldn't. More and more I think I'd be like, fuck social media, because it's some toxic ass people for no reason. For no reason. This is a person, Nicole Kidman, who has given us some outstanding performances over the years. So, what would make you think that she wouldn't do well in this role? And then they were saying she was too old. Uh, Thank you, Clarence. Yeah, she's been killing it in the stuff I've seen her in lately. Even that damn commercial at the beginning of the AMC movies. I don't know if anybody else goes to AMC theaters, But there's this commercial that they play at the beginning of every AMC movie here, the last over the probably the last 6 months at least. And yeah, even in that, shoot, had me thinking that Nicole Kidman sitting behind me, she acted so well. Man, and then yeah, they were saying that she was too old. Look, we had Willem Dafoe, who was 66 years old, playing himself as or a character that he played 20 some years ago. And they found a way to make Willem Dafoe look like that Willem Dafoe. If you can do that, I don't give a shit how old people are anymore. You can there's too many things that can be done to de-age, but we didn't even have to de-age Nicole Kidman. Yeah, I don't know if she's got work done on her face, whatever. She looks good for 54, 55, however old she is. She's 54, 55 years old. She looks really good for her age. I don't care. Yeah, and she's incredible. I mean, yeah, beauty, and she captured the physicality of Lucille Ball. I'm not talking about the physical comedy because we didn't see an awful lot of that. But I'm saying the way that Lucy moves and how I don't remember Lucy was a tiny little something too. Wasn't nothing wrong with Nicole Kidman in this role. And I don't think there was anything wrong with Javier Bardem in the role either. And I think William Frawley, I'm even calling him William Frawley. I think J.K. Simmons, he go from the beginning of this year with the Tomorrow War being like super jacked and buff. Then he goes into the middle of the year doing other things. We saw him in other things, and we saw him in Spider-Man No Way Home. And then we see him in this. And this is not a situation where we talk about before how there are actors who just play themselves. No. J.K. Simmons is really I don't know if Bardem was really singing, Clarence. I'm gonna look it up real quick though. Yeah, this was definitely J.K. Simmons acting, and he acted his ass off in every last one of these movies. Every last one of them. Was Bardem singing and being? Let's see. Before working on the Aaron Sorkin film alongside Nicole Kidman in the role of Lucille Ball, Bardem did not consider himself a singer, but the experience helped him not only grow closer to the famous Cuban actor, musician, and TV producer, but also, and most importantly, himself. So I guess he did sing some of it. Yeah. Yeah, I guess he did sing some of it, which is actually that Babaloo. Yeah, that's actually shocking to me that he was actually performing that himself. And I'm telling you, that is the song that he was saying. Of course, that was a famous song that Desi Arnaz used to sing, but it was during him performing Babaloo that made me say, he got this dude down pat. He is really doing uh he is really doing an outstanding job in this role. I agree, Clarence. If he wasn't singing, he need to be on that show. Whatever, what was it, lip sync battle? He need to be on that show if that wasn't him singing. Now there was one part that I knew he was singing because his voice was cracking. It was just like a talkie sing. But yeah, for this man, again, watch the movie, give it an opportunity. Of course, I've spoiled everything, but this is something that you could have found on Wikipedia. So a lot of what I learned was I didn't expect. I didn't expect to learn as much as I did. And separating the woman from the character Lucy, when you see that there is a different side of Lucy. Because, like, never ever in my long-legged life did I think that I was going to need to see Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz getting it on. But then here we were, uh, at the beginning of the movie. This is how we meet them, and they were a couple. They had ups and downs. They ended up divorcing, of course, both remarrying. But even as I was reading other things, there were pictures up of Lucy and her new husband and Desi and his new wife, and they were all like at a swimming pool with their children. And look, I've also heard that Lucy wasn't the best mother. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I don't know. I haven't seen anything. We didn't see anything that would indicate that in the movie. But in the to see pictures as I was looking through and trying to get the information on how this stuff really happened, and to see pictures of them even after they were married to other people and were raising these children together, you could see that there was a lot of love there. She probably just couldn't condone the cheating, and I can't blame her. But it's always good if that wasn't just for the cameras. It's always good to see a family, especially when you're forced to be a blended family like that, that everybody can still get along for the sake of the children. And that is one of the things that I really did like, as I was going. This wasn't portrayed in the movie, but as I was going through and looking to see how much of this stuff really happened, I ran across pictures, and I thought it was very heartwarming to me. That's very special to me because even, and I don't know how he would act. I don't know how my ex-husband would have acted if, while I was raising our son, I would have gotten married and that. I know how I acted. Now, the first time he remarried, I didn't like that lady. Didn't like her one bit because we could go into it, but I'm not. But yeah, she was a mess. I didn't like her. But the lady he's with now, I think that would be definitely possible to co-parent, be in that co-parenting relationship, and everybody get along. You know what I mean? Even though my son don't need no co-parenting, he's damn near 30. So hopefully you guys will take Clarence and me up on our recommendation to watch the movie. It was good, and like I said, might open your eyes. It might shine a brighter light on some stuff that you already knew, or it might have been no surprises. But these performances are still worth it, even if you don't have to learn. If you're not learning anything from it, if you know everything there is to know about Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, the performances alone would be good to see. Uh, and yeah, I don't have anything else. Does anybody out there have anything else? Oh gosh. I'm trying to think of what I might do next week for more than a movie. It was something that I wanted to cover and I can't remember what it was. But I'm thinking I might make it an easy one for myself, something easy to watch, probably something Dateline-ish. So next week might be a crime kind of episode of More Than a Movie. So if you want to join me again here next week, Monday, I'm going to be making some adjustments to the schedule. Uh, I don't know. I think I'm liking the 6 o'clock time a little bit better than the 7. And we did 6 o'clock stream something Sunday yesterday at 6 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock. And I thought that felt better to me. Angus Osano, Don't Look Up has scarred you for life. I still haven't watched it. I'm gonna watch it today. Like when we're through here, I'm gonna watch Don't Look Up because that's one that I do want to. Probably that'll be my film review Friday movie of this week. I can't see myself going to the movies. I kind of told y'all I've gotten the fear has the fear of leaving the house has returned. So I don't know. That might be my movie for film review Friday this week. Now, Lysandra, you didn't like which movie, Lysandra? Don't Look Up or being the Ricardos? Now, I'm gonna say I had Don't Look Up on my radar because they were saying that these performances were going to be like Oscar worthy. And I'm paying particular attention to this best actor because I'm like, damn, I'm waiting on I'm hoping that Will Smith is able to pull off this Oscar win. But damn, these performances, and they came in like at the last minute. The Benedict Cumberbatch performance of in Power of the Dog. The I heard that Andrew Garfield put on a hell of a performance. Tick Tick Boom. I've heard of course Will Smith. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, and Leonardo DiCaprio in Don't Look Up. I've been hearing things. Yeah, now in mid-January, that's what I was talking about yesterday. That I'm wondering if I'm gonna cover Peacemaker. Depends on what the interest is, but it's on the list right now because we'll have Prodigy and is that it? I gotta have more than one show. That's basically what I'm saying. And right now, I think Prodigy is the only thing that I've got lined up. So Peacemaker, and oh, the Book of Boba Fett, and the Book of Boba Fett. The acting in Don't Look Up was top notch. Yes, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that there is a lot of talk that Leo could see another Oscar nomination, and I'm just wondering. I'm gonna watch it today. Hopefully, hopefully I enjoy it, and then I get a gauge on what's going to happen. Oh, another one, licorice pizza. I'm hearing that Bradley Cooper, is looking good in that one as well. That he should get nominated. So, uh, so that's for Don't Look Up. The genre is satire so dark, it has to be horror. So yeah, I'm looking forward. And yeah, you said Book of Boba. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out and seeing if what all the hubbub is, because I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot that this movie is something to behold. Uh and I'm still yeah, I know Tyler Perry is in it. He plays a kind of over the top news anchor or something of that nature, right? Yeah, I can deal with it. I'm gonna check it out and see if I like it. Um, Tyler Perry plays in it. Tyler Perry can play in it. He just can't be the person who wrote it. That's where I have a problem. I could probably even take a Tyler Perry directed movie, but I can't take a Tyler Perry written movie. That's where he loses me. Okay, thanks for letting me know that as well, Angus. Yes, Don't Look Up is a horror movie, scarred for life, and there's an after the credit scenes. Uh, I don't know. Is your mama Tyler Perry? I'm not sure. I'm not Tyler Perry. I don't know if yeah. Nope. Oh gosh. When I tell you, I don't know. Some people ain't got nothing else to do with their whole life. This is what I be talking about though, y'all. You know, I said that if I got rich, if I got famous, uh, I wouldn't be on social media. Y'all would have to contact me some other way because see, it's people like this and I could just let everybody loose and be like, yeah, get this person, but they are idiots any damn way. You wouldn't even see their comments if I didn't put them up here. So uh Clarence, you were reading my mind, buddy. I was going to go back through the movies that I have reviewed and see what I thought of the top 5. And yeah, because y'all already know what's coming out like towards the bottom for me. Um not just towards the bottom, at the bottom. At the bottom for me, my bottom 2 right now is Karen, followed very closely behind by the Matrix Resurrections. But then when we start talking about the top films, that can get a little bit more exciting, especially because we saw some movies, whether they were all studio films or Netflix films. We can do a list of either or because I saw uh because I saw a lot of movies this week. He said, "Why are you calling me an idiot? You have 3 viewers, actually 4. You're one of them." Oh gosh, but yeah, that's a good idea, and I think that is the direction I'll be going in with with the end of the year kind of, especially since I'm thinking of doing that instead of doing midweek meltdown tomorrow. Was that tomorrow? No, that's the day after tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm supposed to be putting up this doggone book of Boba Fett. I might need to hit you up, Angus, about the book of Boba Fett. But I got some of it written out. Some of it. But yeah, with all that being said, I don't have much left for the day. Do you guys have anything before I leave? Everybody except for the corkscrew. Corkscrew can go to hell. Oh, with gasoline draws on, corkscrew. Put on some gasoline draws and go straight to HE double hockey sticks. That's what I'm saying, Angus. I don't know what day of the week it is. I had to really sit here and brainstorm. My birthday is next week. Like I can't even remember like which day. Is it Saturday or is it Sunday? I think it's Sunday. Oh gosh. So yeah, I'm really confused about what day of the week it is. Got lost right after these holidays. And then it gets worse as we move in and start having to think about writing down a new year. Gosh, it's gonna be 2021 for at least the first 3 months of 2022. Yeah. But yeah, I don't have anything else, y'all. I don't have anything else. I'm gonna go ahead and mosey on in here and go on about the rest of my day. And hopefully you guys will join me Wednesday for the midweek meltdown, especially since going into the back half of the week. Because I don't know what y'all plans are for New Year's Eve, but I don't do nothing. But if y'all are all gonna be absorbed in festivities, I'm not doing no show. So you will see me again on Sunday at 6 o'clock. So you'll see me, for the rest of the days this week. Something will come out tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then Friday, Saturday, You probably won't see me at all. Then you'll see me again on Sunday, but we'll do it at 6 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock, just like we did this week. So, with all that being said, I've got nothing else. It has been fun, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.